Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the United Star. Today is the preview for the game against Arsenal. On the occasion, this game has decided the title, but no more. That game has obviously lost its edge, but for us fans, it's yet an important fixture. So we have super Arsenal fan Shivaan here with us. So Shivaan, what are your thoughts going into this game?
So it's a tricky one because I think in the league both teams have been quite poor. Arsenal have been struggled to create chances. Actually, we've looked solid defensively, but last two games we haven't scored a goal and we're struggling to create and we're lacking creativity. So I expect it to be actually a quite boring game, like the Chelsea game. Actually, I expect Arsenal to come and just like maybe be happy to take a point because taking a point away at Old Trafford right now is a good win for us. I don't expect many goals in this game. I'm expecting a probably 1-1 or 1-0, that sort of a game.
Right, right. Vishesh, do you agree with that? Do you agree with Shivan's assessment that United have been struggling in the league as well as Arsenal have? Because I think there are two ways to look at it. There's one way that, yeah, both teams are struggling, but I feel Arsenal started off well and have started struggling, and United, on the other hand, were struggling and are slowly improving. What do you think?
I think it's the latter of what you said that it all goes down to the preseason thing that everyone's talking about that we didn't have, and that 6-1 just woke up all the players. And since then, we've had a pretty decent response. Uh, the Chelsea game, yes, that was definitely boring, as what Siobhan said, but I definitely see Ole going all out to win this game because you cannot keep drawing games, right? You need to get those 3 points eventually at home. So. I think it'll be an all-out attack from Manchester United's end, and I understand if Arsenal just come to get that 1 point because at this moment, I think they've lost to both Leicester and City. So if they come just to get that 1 point and they get that, they would probably be happy, but that would be a loss for us.
Yeah, yeah. That I kind of agree with that assessment. But Shivan, what I want to ask you is what has happened to Aubameyang? Do you think it's time to play him in the center, and do you like he should be the focal point of the attack because this is his longest spell in the league without scoring a goal? So what is going wrong? Is he not getting enough service, or what are your thoughts?
I don't think it's just Aubameyang playing on the left is the problem. So Aubameyang played in the left almost all of last season and still ended up with 22 goals. I think it's the players around him, it's the system. If you watch Arsenal games, he's very isolated. There's not many chances. Yeah, his shots this season have been low. His expected goals have been quite low. I don't think moving Aubameyang to the center suddenly fixes everything because it's much more of a structural thing. So Arsenal don't have any players who can break through the lines and create. Right now, our best creative player is Bukayo Saka, who's 19 years old. And we saw the Leicester game, David Luiz was the only one really creating any chances for us. So moving Obama into the center, I don't think it's going to work wonders and instantly fix our attack. I think Lacazette has dropped off dramatically over the last 6 months. I don't think he's a player he once was. He won our player of the season in 2018-19. So maybe getting him out of the side and playing Aubameyang in center and getting someone like Reece Nelson, who I think was excellent yesterday, might be something Arsenal will do. But I think this is a game where I don't think United will go all out attack because if you see how United have done well in the last few games against PSG and Leipzig, they've done well against teams who have the ball, who have possession, and then they can counter attack. Even against Newcastle, you're 1-4-1, but for 80 minutes, you're struggling to break them down. So I don't expect Arsenal to have the ball and to actually attack United like PSG and Leipzig did. That's why I don't expect it to be an open all-out attack from United. I expect it to be a quite a boring, dull game like the Chelsea one. And if Arsenal can make a goal and make a 1-0, I'd be extremely happy with that.
Right. Vishesh, Shivan raises an interesting point about Arsenal not offering any creativity. So before I get into United, who from this Arsenal squad would you actually be fearing? Like, as he said, Saka looks like their biggest threat going forward. But at the end of the day, they have players like Aubameyang, Pepe if he starts. There's Willian there if he starts. There are a few players who can cause problems. So are you at all worried about that, or do you think the defensive performances we've shown are good enough to suggest that we'll hold Arsenal at bay?
I think the only threat is Aubameyang coming in form because we all know when such big games do arrive, players do stand up at their best possible form. But other than that, I think our defense has been solid since the 6-1 loss, and there's a newfound confidence among them. So, honestly speaking, going into this game, I am pretty confident that we should win it. And as Shivaan said, that if they nick it by 1-0 or something, they would be happy. So, I think there are two sides where United are going for the win, and probably Arsenal would be going for the draw.
But Vishesh, do you agree with Shivan's assessment that we'll only be able to, we've been struggling to break teams down? Do you agree with that assessment that we won't be able to break Arsenal down if we have the possession, like we're only good at the fast counter? Do you agree with that assessment, or do you think that is a little overblown now?
I think to a certain degree, Shivan's right when he talks about United are a really counter-attacking team. We saw that against Leipzig, how Rashford got it in his own half and went. We saw that against PSG. We saw that against Newcastle because Newcastle didn't sit back. So if Arsenal are going to sit back, then we need the creativity up front, and that's where the lineup matters. If you're then going to play McTominay and Fred in a holding position, that's not going to work because McTominay and Fred are like workhorses who'll try and cover each and every inch of the field. So in that case, you have to play the likes of Bruno and Pogba together, or you could make a combination of Bruno and Van de Beek and then play Matic behind because you need that attacking creativity up front. So it all depends on how Ole lines up for this game.
Right. So, Shivan, before I get ask Vishesh, he's already thrown out some lineups. Before I ask him about his predicted 11, how do you think Arsenal are going to line up for this one? What do you think Arsenal's predicted 11 will look like?
So Arsenal played the 4-3-3 against Leicester, but for the big games, Arteta prefers the 3-4-3 because that gives them more defensive stability. So I think it's the same thing. So it's going to be Leno on goal, and in defense, we've actually had quite a lot of injuries. I mean, only Arsenal can have 8 centre backs, but still have El Neni and Shaka play centre backs yesterday. So I think it's going to be a back three of Gabriel in the middle. I think Mustafi is fit enough to start, so he'll play the right centre back, and we'll have Tierney played left centre back. It switches to a 4 in the back when we attack. And the two wing backs will be Nathan Niles, who he likes in the big games. So he's a good player under pressure. Bellerin on the right, and in the two centre midfielders, I think it'll be Partey and Ceballos. I don't think Shaka will play because he played the whole 90 yesterday. And up the three up top, I expect it to be Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Willian because all three of these players can start on Thursday.
Right. So, Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Willian, you said.
Willian, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Vishesh, that's interesting. How do you think Ole is going to counter this? Because he's played three different formations in the last three games. So, what team do you think Ole is going to put out to counter a potential 3-4-3, as Shivan has said?
I think he's going to go back to his normal ways of the 4-2-3-1 or 4-3, whatever, where it's going to be Maguire and Lindelof as our centre back partnership because that's growing in confidence. Alex Telles is out because of COVID, so it has to be Luke Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. My difference would be I would play Fred rather than Matic with Pogba and Bruno in front of them, with Rashford, Greenwood, and Cavani.
Interesting. Interesting. So, I actually have an interesting thought here.
I don't think
What I am
Cavani is fit to start, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm thinking is Mason Greenwood to play up top with Mata or Van de Beek playing on the right. So that gives us that creative, incisive pass that we need. And Mata has been good this season, and I think that will allow us to play Pogba, Bruno, and Mata and Van de Beek, and give us that holding midfielder as well. So I think that could be something that we could explore.
But then, Prashant, we then go into the fact we need to take into account the pace that we have up front, right? Mata slows down the attack significantly. He does bring that creative spark, but he does slow it down the attack significantly as well. Like I get where you're coming from, but I just don't see this being Mata's game. I think Mata's game would have been like a side against Brighton or Newcastle, not Arsenal.
Interesting. But because every game Mata has started this season, he has turned up. So I think, I don't know, I see that Mata, I think I see Mata as a much improved player than last season. And that is why I feel him playing from the right can give us some incisive movement. Shivaan, you heard Vishesh's lineup. We've already asked Vishesh who he thinks is going to be the biggest threat. you've already said that United don't do particularly well when they're on the ball. But as an Arsenal fan, what do you think are the one or two threats that you'd watch out for with that shaky defense and United looking good going forward?
Oh, I don't think Arsenal's defense is quite shaky. I think we've been quite solid this season. We've had the least amount, the second or
No,
third
but
least amount of expected goals against this
considering the number
season.
of considering the number of injuries that are, and with that,
Okay, so considering injuries, um, so I still think the two main threats of yours are Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford, especially that pace in behind Rashford on the left against Mustafi. I'm worried about that. But otherwise, I think I I have a sneaky feeling there'll be some sort of penalties or some sort of uh, refereeing decisions that will affect this game. Because in these sort of like tight fixtures, these sort of decisions can affect the game. Like even in the Chelsea game, Maguire could have had could have had a penalty. Chelsea could have had a penalty against Aspilicueta, and that could have changed the game. So in these tight fixtures where there's two like teams that aren't going all out attack and are playing on the counter attack, these refereeing decisions will be like key. So I think I'm gonna, if I was Mikel Arteta, I'd tell the players not to commit any silly fouls, not to dangle your legs, because we know how good United are at getting penalties. I know we all banter about United getting so many penalties, but that's because your players are skilled at actually, like tricking the referee, not tricking the referee, but like convincing the referee that and like just falling down or like taking that foul. So it's a skill. United are good at it, and you're a fast attackers. So I think that's one thing you should be wary about. Otherwise, I'm not too concerned about United's like other players like Mata, even James, even Cavani. I don't think they are match fit enough to make a difference, but Rashford and Bruno Fernandes for sure.
right, right. Vishesh, do you agree with that? And what is your prediction for the game? What scoreline are you going with?
I agree with Shivan's assessment of the full penalty and us having the trickery up front to get it, because it's not like we're diving to get those penalties. So that completely makes sense. And when you talk about predictions, I'm gonna go for a 1-0 to United with Rashford
One
scoring.
nil. Interesting. Interesting. Shivan, I have a more pointed question to ask you on a very serious note. Uh, do you, as Ty thinks, do you also think United should be the one scared of Arsenal, or do you think United are going into this game and Arsenal would be more wary of United?
I think for an away fixture for Arsenal, we should be definitely be more wary of United. I don't think we're scared of United. Like I don't think Arsenal will be like fearing United and fearing Pogba. They're not losing sleep over Rashford, but I think Arsenal as an away fixture, it will be the more cautious team. If this was a game of the Emirates, I think it would be the opposite, because I think the home team has dominated this fixture in the last few years. I know we've drawn there in the last 2 3 seasons, but I think Arsenal will be the more cautious, but we're not afraid of United anymore. This is not the United of Sir Alex Ferguson. Remember, this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he's not doing any wonders apart from that final victory in the
Right.
weekend. In the week.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I don't see any reason why Arsenal should be getting sleepless nights over Rashford. They aren't PSG after all. But, Shivan, you said this is not the United of Sir Alex Ferguson. This is not the Arsenal of Arsene Wenger either. So, Mikel Arteta, while like they all keep talking about this said improvement, I personally don't see it. His win record is quite appalling. I think it's worse than Unai Emery's in the league, if I'm not wrong. But anyway, what are your predictions for this week?
Predictions. I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw. 1-1 draw.
A 1. I mean, I think both of y'all have been quite pessimistic about how this game is going to be. I personally think it's going to be a 3-1 victory to Man United, and that one goal also may not come if Aubameyang is not on point, really. So I really don't see this entire thing about Arsenal being cautious. See, Arsenal's midfield is absolutely useless. There's no Kante or Jorginho that can marshal that midfield. Partey is new to the Premier League. He's not settled in yet. he's probably wondering what he's doing, what he was doing in the last game against Leicester. I mean, Arsenal in the Arsenal in the middle of the park are not as strong as Chelsea are, in my opinion. Arsenal in defense are not as strong as Chelsea are with Mendy now in goal for them. I don't think Arsenal are as strong as that. They don't have a Thiago Silva who can marshal the defense. I think their defense and midfield is rather inexperienced, and they won't be able to hold off United the way Chelsea did. And having said that, Leipzig were not attacking United as much as you'd think they were. We stifled them a lot in the midfield in that game. So I don't see this cautious game. I feel United will easily win 3-1 against Arsenal, but you never know. You never know. 1-0 also is possible in these big games. So let's see what happens. But Shivaan, just your closing thoughts.
I'm just yeah, I'm just happy that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing well. That means he's going to be in a job for at least 2-3 more years. So that's good news for everyone else in the Premier League.
Yep. Good news for everyone else in the Premier League. For now, once we beat you all on Sunday, we'll have this conversation again. Shivaan, who's your player to watch out for? Bruno Fernandes or Marcus Rashford? Because Aubameyang clearly can't buy a goal anymore.
Marcus Rashford.
Right.
Marcus Rashford for sure.
Right. Vishesh, do you agree, Marcus Rashford? Because what do you think?
I'm going with Rashford as well. I think he's started off 2020-21 season pretty strong, and yeah, he does it off the field, and he's definitely doing it on the field as well.
Right. Absolutely. But I think if Paul Pogba starts, this is going to be his game. From the midfield, putting those passes into Rashford, I think this is going to be his game if he starts. And then, of course, we've got a certain Bruno Fernandes who can change the game whenever he wants to. So, yeah, you've heard it, guys. Arsenal are they're cautious going into this game. Shivaan is expecting a hopeful 1-0. He doesn't expect much, but they're all out with the banter. At least they've yet got that in them if they've not got the winning mentality anymore. But Vishesh thinks United will win. And silverware. Yeah. That's an indisputable point for the moment.
You'll need some help beating Chelsea. I think you're going to struggle the last few times.
I think Shivaan is the banter game is much better than what Aubameyang has been doing in the last 4 or 5 games, or has it been 6 games now since he scored a goal? But let's see what happens, Shivaan. We'll try to get you back in for the review after United have thumped your 3-1, like I've said. We'll try to get you back then, and we'll see what you have to say then. So guys, till then, subscribe to the channel and watch out for Shivaan's review video after they've lost. We'll see what he has to say then. Thanks for coming, guys.